Good morning and welcome to a day in my life as a software engineer. This might be the most unglamorous and maybe dull day in the life that you've seen so far, but it's a realistic look into what my everyday life looks like because I don't live close to a city anymore. I kind of live in the very rural parts of Maryland. So there's not really a lot going around here, but I figured I would share my day anyway. So I skipped the part where I wake up and get ready because I do not look very nice when I wake up in the morning. So let's skip to the actual first part of my day, which is coffee. So like I said a few seconds ago, my morning usually begins with coffee, and I was feeling a little festive this morning, so I added a hot chocolate packet to it to just give it a little extra pizzazz. So after I get my hot chocolate coffee all ready, I usually retreat back upstairs and lay on my bed and doom scroll on TikTok and Twitter for a few minutes. After I've doom scrolled for a little bit, I usually take some time to work on content, and this morning that meant responding to all of the YouTube comments that I had, so I take a few seconds just to do that. Then after I've worked on some content for an hour or two, depending on the time that I woke up, it's time to make my way into my office, which is actually my childhood bedroom, which is why everything is definitely one color, and I'm pretty sure you can even tell by my desk setup what my favorite color is. So if you don't know, I am a planner. I love making lists. I love to set my intentions for the day, and that is the very first thing that I decide to do before I start out each workday. So I start with making a list of 3 things that I would like to achieve no matter what, no matter how big or how small they are. And that is what I'm doing here and just writing them in my journal. So I'm currently trying out a new time blocking schedule, and after I set my intentions and my goals for the day, I have a block from about 9 o'clock to 9:30 where I dedicate time to communicating, sending emails, figuring out what happened on Slack while I was gone, and basically just taking this time to catch up on all communication that came through when I was gone. Then, after my 30-minute block dedicated to communication and goal setting, I jump right into another 30-minute block that is dedicated to code review. So for the first 30-minute block of the day, I review code for one of the teams that I'm on, and then I actually have another block of time at the end of the day to review code for the other team that I'm on. That way I am dedicating time to just sit down and take a really close look at the pull requests that are coming through and provide my best reviews of their code. Then at about 10 o'clock to 10:30, I start to shift my focus to prepare for my one-on-one with my manager. And I just want to say, before working at this job, I had never had scheduled one-on-ones with a manager before, so I was kind of scared going in. But when I tell you, my manager is absolutely fantastic. I look forward to them every single week because he's so helpful. He always makes sure that I have everything that I need to be succeeding. I feel like I can come and have questions, and he is always willing to answer any questions that I have, whether it be about the company, about a process, about something that I'm currently working on, anything like that. And he always is willing to listen and provide a lending ear where necessary. So I really look forward to these meetings every single week. So my one-on-ones usually take about 30 minutes or sometimes a little bit longer. And then after my one-on-ones, I'm usually ready for a little break. But today I did have a company all hands that was sort of stacked on top of my one-on-one. So I logged in and it was just something where I had to listen. So I basically took my little brain break while I was also listening to the company all hands and folded a load of laundry that I had from yesterday. And this is one of the main reasons that I really love working from home. And it's just so easy to get normal everyday tasks done and integrated into my day, since I'm at home and I don't have to worry about being in an office and having to come all the way back home and dealing with all of my chores at one time. The company all hands itself was about an hour and a half, so after I folded that little load of laundry, I did sit down and sort of multitask and complete another code review while I was listening to the meeting. But after the company all hands was over, I actually jumped right directly into another meeting, and this was a cross teams meeting, which I think is really cool because I get to see another perspective of the product that I'm working on. And this perspective comes from people who are more technical writers. And it's always interesting to see how they are going to utilize the product that we are creating sort of for them. So I really like going to this meeting and sort of hanging back and just sitting and listening to the conversations that happen. So after that cross teams meeting that lasted about 30 minutes, I was able to get a little bit of coding in, and I was able to work on one of my big tasks for the day, which is to figure out how to add some functionality to a code sample that we have currently sitting in our documentation. Currently that code sample is like halfway complete, and there were 3 parts of functionality that I wanted to add to that sample to make it easier for devs who are going to be using our framework. All they have to do is copy the code that I created and basically plop it directly into their project. So that was the big goal that I had for today, and this is some time that I spent working on it. So I will say I took my lunch break abnormally late today. I took it at about 2:30, and that's because Jamie came home at about 2:30 and I needed to go to the grocery store to get a few things that I wanted for lunch and for dinner. So we headed out to the grocery store. He got himself some lunch while we were out, and I just got myself a Mint Majesty tea from Starbucks. So after my lunch break, I got back home around 3:30, and basically I spent the remainder of the day working on the functionality for the component inside of the docs that I was talking about a little bit earlier, and I was able to go ahead and get it all hooked up, and the functionality is there and it looks good. So tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and create a pull request and, check some tests and everything like that, all the fun stuff. But I was really happy that I was able to get the functionality completed today. So after I was able to successfully implement the functionality that I wanted to, I was basically able to cross the last thing off on my list for today, and I felt comfortable stopping for the day around 5 o'clock or 5:15. And yeah, so that was basically the end of my workday. I had a lot of meetings that were going on, but that is a real look into what a workday looks like. So basically after that, I whipped up dinner pretty quickly, but then we had to scurry off to our local gardens because I had purchased tickets to see the Garden in Lights for their little Christmas show. So I apologize in advance if the footage is a little shaky, but yeah, we basically just walked through the gardens and they had all kinds of lights, and I got a hot chocolate, Jamie got a pretzel. We were living life. It was fun. Just something really cool to do on a weekday. There weren't too many people, but overall it was really cool. Lots of cool light displays, and they were playing Christmas music, so I enjoyed it. And there we have it. It was a pretty uneventful day, but a realistic look into what I do every day as a software engineer. Well, I won't say I do the lights every day. That was a fun little thing just for the holidays. But basically from here until I go to sleep, I will just be playing video games and chilling out and relaxing. So until next time, thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video at least a little bit. And I can't wait to see you all in my next video. Have a good night.